Okay, abusia be makwa shonko so edeba POG Media so abusia yembonra yensem no eye national security akwakopie sika twetwedie ene gold bars ewo warehouse abusia warehouse no makwakopie no eye millions of dollars ene go containers beye 7 mu abusia millions of dollars and cedis plus gold bars na just say warehouse kakraka and just say national securities no omo abaru omo akwako pieces sika ne so abusua enye asam keto akra Ghana abusua Ghana yenim sika wo ha sei enka warehouse a container just say containers be $8 yahye ne ma gold bars and yahye ne ma na Ghana cedis no abusia yensem momre no menko na yenkonkonko tie na abusia national security for ekoko peace a nioma yesu no abusia tension bia eda NPP force no Akuffo Addo ne achima affairs no gabi moso no abusia omo hu de omo nya omo menko na yenkonko tie ensemeko na ansa na ebeko no wo ensem kan bia fashe your comment section like and I share my from so answer into me and can be POG Media so
Prime with me Pius Kojobaka. Coming up in our headlines, national security operatives seize US dollars, gold bars and counterfeit currency in a warehouse raid at Sapeman. Also in this bulletin, Minority Leader Penyo Makin and a host of NPP MPs scheduled to take their turn before the special committee probing chaos at the appointment committee on Monday. But will they show up after their withdrawal from the committee? We have details. Also in this bulletin, Ashanti Regional Minister faces backlash for giving illegal miners 2 weeks to vacate forests and water bodies, with critics insisting they should be arrested immediately. Security operatives have seized a large but unspecified amount of US on a look now at our stories. National security operatives have seized a large but unspecified amount of US dollars and Ghana cedis concealed in 12 to 20 food shipping containers at a warehouse in Sapeman in the South municipality. Acting on a tip-off, officials discovered the currency hidden in a wooden box filled with cement and compartments sealed with plywood and charcoal. Now, 2 containers remain unaccounted for, with security trackers actively pursuing them. Now, a manhunt is underway for 4 suspects, including a ringleader known as Alhaji. Further searches unapproved or uncovered suspected gold bars, counterfeit CD notes, and fake Ghana Army uniforms and boots, raising additional security concerns.
During the operation, additional boxes opened in the warehouse revealed more cash concealed in compartments barricaded with plywood and sealed with charcoal. According to national security operatives, 2 containers remain on the loose, but state security trackers are actively pursuing them. Meanwhile, a manhunt is underway for 4 suspects, including a ringleader known only as Alhaji. The warehouse search uncovered even more shocking finds, including boxes of metals suspected to be gold bars, counterfeit Ghana cedi notes in 50 cedis and 100 cedis denominations, as well as fake Ghana Army uniforms and boots.
Now, the family of a 38-year-old woman and the 2 children who were killed by unknown assailants in the Tesungu suburb of Boku in the Upper East region is demanding an investigation into the attack. Rukia Idrisu and her daughters, aged 8 and 2, were reportedly asleep when gunmen broke into their home around 2 a.m. on Sunday and shot them dead. Relatives who discovered the scene say Rukia was found holding a youngest child in a pool of blood. The motive for the attack remains unclear, but the grieving family is calling for a thorough investigation and justice for their loved ones.
Of foreign relations with the charge of executing our foreign policy and ensuring that Ghana looks good to the world, and then also attracting foreign direct investment in many other ways. including all the other things that he has to do. I'm talking about the youngest foreign affairs minister in the history of the Republic of Ghana, and the chair of the Operation Recover or Loot, Samuel Okudzeto is a member of parliament for the North Tongue constituency and joining us in the studio right now. Good morning, Mr. Blakwa. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, Alfred. Good to see you.
And it's good to see you. Congratulations to you is in order.
Thank you very much.
And there are many who yesterday watching the charge that the president gave to you specifically, clearly talking about what you have to do to ensure that Ghana is able to represent itself well to the world. It's a Herculean task for you, and it's one that you're ready for going forward. Quick one.
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. Let me convey warm regards and weekend greetings to the viewers of TV3. I would like to express my deepest and profound appreciation to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for the honor. It is most humbling, and this is a time to be deeply reflective, and you have to be conscious of the fact that this assignment, there are so many Ghanaians who qualify to perform this task. You have been selected not because you are only person available or the best person that the president can find, but you have been selected by the grace of God, by the fact that there is a certain expectation that you can deliver and not disappoint. So I want to assure His Excellency the President and the good people of this country that the task, which is such an onerous task, to serve your country in any capacity, is a really onerous one. It is one that requires enormous industry, a lot of skill, a lot of discretion. But at the end of the day, in all you do, you must make sure you are guided by the principles of integrity, love for country, discipline, passion to be innovative, to achieve results, and to impact the lives of the vast majority of Ghanaians. And so it is not lost on me the responsibility, the expectation, and how the chiefs and people of our country expect that we will carry out reforms and make sure that the foreign ministry delivers to meet the expectation. And when you listen to President Mahama carefully, and you see his own conduct, the leadership that he has exemplified, he expects high standards of modesty, of delivery, of deliberation in meeting the manifesto promises, the social contract that we have signed with the people. And I can assure you, Alfred, that all of this is not lost on us. Let me use this opportunity to also convey my heartfelt gratitude to the chiefs and people of North Tongue who have continued to support me, to believe in me, and we have worked together to advance the cause of my beloved constituents. I would also like to thank the youth of our country, our great party, the NDC, who have been, absolutely phenomenal with the kind of support that they have extended to us, particularly this generation of young leaders Then certainly Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. I always reserve the best for last. My dear wife and family, who have been a pillar and have offered such amazing and incredible support, and have been really the backbone of all I do, always encouraging me. But Alfred, I can assure you that I go into this office with a deep sense of respect for the Ghanaian people. At all times, the question that I'll ask myself, how will this decision be in the national interest? How is this decision reflecting the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama? How is this decision going to ensure that the livelihoods of our people are improved? That is why I have said that we will demystify the foreign ministry and make sure that the work we do is not just highfalutin, abstract diplomacy, but at the end of the day, foreign policy, all of those diplomatic engagements must improve the lot of the people. That's why we are going to have KPIs. We are going to focus on economic diplomacy and make sure that foreign policy, international relations, really impact everybody, no matter how far your village is from Accra all the way to the capital.
Right.
Every Ghanaian living in Ghana and abroad must feel the impact and the relevance of the foreign ministry. And that is the charge I have, and I'm determined to ensure that I do not disappoint the Ghanaian people and I do not let down President Mahama.
Perfect. Now talk about the foreign policy being one area that obviously is your charge, but you're going to pursue economic diplomacy. Now, the conversation about Ghana and whether to join BRICS or not is one that you're going to have to face, no matter how you look at it. Because even the president himself is well aware of this. And if you listen to his inaugural speech, he hinted of a conversation being had on what has to be done going forward. And considering the fact that Nigeria, just about 2 weeks or so ago, took that decision to join BRICS as a partner, country partner for that matter. Relations with Nigeria economically and in terms of foreign policy as well. What is going to be the thinking going into that conversation with BRICS, that is Brazil, India, China, South Africa, and the others who have joined, and also considering our own relationship with the IMF, the World Bank, and the West?
Fortunately, we have a foreign policy which allows us to be flexible and to pursue a path which at the end of the day must put our strategic national interests at the heart, at the center of the decisions we make. And if you look at the foreign policy President Akroma espoused, which he outlined in detail in the Parliament of 16th December 1959, he talked about a foreign policy which pursues positive neutrality, a foreign policy which is non-aligned, that we will not look left or right, we will look forward. And that in all of what we do, our fundamental objective is to ensure that the decisions we take inure to the benefit of our people. We are not going to be caught up in the wars and proxy wars and conflicts and contestations of other powers. And as we all know, the world is going through a very challenging time, having moved from unipolar, bipolar, now we have multipolar forces at play. So I am clear in my mind that these discussions we shall be holding, which largely will take place in cabinet, chaired by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and may play out in Parliament as well. We will also engage the Ghanaian people, civil society, trade unions, making sure that it is a really collective decision where we have an entire buy-in of the general public. I am clear in my mind that at the end of the day, we will opt for what is in our best interest. And really, if you look at the international forces now, you cannot ignore BRICS. I mean, you are talking about a combined market population of more than 40% of the total population of the world, combined GDP of more than 27 trillion. Absolutely. And they have really put in place structures which are quite enticing.
With a development bank that is giving loans to developing countries.
Having a seed capital of about $100 billion, dollars, and without a lot of stringent, attachments.
These conditionalities that tend to break our necks.
Exactly. So any day, I will recommend that we should have more options. I mean, we should be building more relationships, forging more partnerships moving forward, so that we are not restricted and limited. And if you look at what our history has been, right from the era of the Osagifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, I mean, which of course led him to be a key proponent and founder of the non-aligned movement. It really allowed us, to always, have new partnerships, create new alliances, and to look in directions that you may call, if you like, non-traditional allies. So, as Kwame Nkrumah famously said, we should strive at all times to be friends of all and enemies of none, so that we position ourselves in such a way that the benefits that we can get from all of these strategic alliances, we do benefit. So, to be very honest with you, BRICS is not a bad idea. You're seeing on the continent the likes of South Africa, the likes of Nigeria, the likes of Ethiopia, and then quite a number of other African countries have sent in their applications. I would also like to see a more united effort so that we can come together as a bloc. Because you see, if we come together as a bloc, and this discussion must be tied with the prospects of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, because with 55 countries on the continent, and you have a continental GDP in excess of $3.4 trillion, and you also have about 1.5 billion people. That's a great market. Potentially can become, the world's, biggest trading zone.
Yeah.
So if we come together, we unite, we bring down the artificial barriers, it gives us a more stronger bargaining position, so that we can then align with some of these, multipolar forces in a position of strength. We can come from, a more stronger, position. So, as you see President Mahama doing, already he's moving to make sure that Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso come back into the ECOWAS fold. He's appointed a special envoy. He's holding talks. He's scheduled to pay state visits in the next few weeks. He is leading the charge to make sure that within our region, all those who are adopting a posture of exclusion and wanting to isolate, isolation, he's bringing them back into the fold. If he succeeds, and I have no doubt, if you look at what he's achieved so far, I have no doubt that President Mahama will succeed in bringing back those who are breaking away.
Burkina Faso, Mali, they are all forming their own union, and
no, I mean,
also,
if you
have a collective strength.
Yeah, but if you look at the history of our continent, I mean, this is not new. I mean, we've had the Ghana, Mali, Guinea, Union, which, if you like, served as the precursor, to even the then Organization of African Unity. So every now and then you have these blocks, these mini groupings, but everybody recognizes that the only way forward, as the Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said, is to unite, put our forces together, have a common market, have a common bank, have a common standby force, bring down the artificial barriers, bring down, all of these trade tariffs, trade, barriers, and go beyond, just the mere rhetoric, and put in place practical, concrete measures that will improve the lot of our. We should be sad that as a continent, every year our young people are dying, going through that tortuous, perilous journey through the Mediterranean to get to Europe in search of greener pastures. In 2023, we had the highest numbers of young people from the continent perishing, over 150,000. And it's happening on a daily basis. We cannot have a situation where unemployment is on the ascendancy. In Ghana, in 2016, unemployment was hovering around 8%. It's now at 14.7%. We cannot continue this way. We cannot have a situation where we trade more with Europe, with China, with India, than we trade amongst ourselves. Intra-African trade, less than 20%. That cannot continue. So the way forward is full integration. Right. Let's come together. And fortunately, President Mahama is an ardent, avowed believer in Pan-Africanism. Ideologically, that's where he stands. As an Nkrumahist, he believes that we really must go back to the blueprint of uniting, of putting together our interests, presenting a common position. Look, if we come together, if we unite, that matter to our people, we will be such a force as a continent that will be unstoppable. I mean, within the United Nations, the African bloc has the largest voting
right.
Or
power.
We have more power than any other continent. The sad part is that we can't seem to agree, see eye to eye. We can't seem to have a common position. And moving forward, these are the things that you are going to see President Mahama focus on. Next week, he will be attending his first Africa Union Summit, and he'll be arriving from the Munich Security Conference. And you know that the security situation is degenerating on the continent. If you look at the threat of terrorism, violent extremism, you see what's happening in the DRC, in Sudan. So security certainly is going to play a major role in our foreign policy considerations, how to keep every Ghanaian safe, keep our borders safe. At the end of the day, if we don't have stability, we cannot even pursue the economic growth, the opportunities that we want to really create for our people. So security will be a major plank, and then the full integration, making sure that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which we host the Secretariat. And remember that this is an idea which came from Nkrumah, which was revived by Professor Mills, and which President Akuffo led the campaign to have the Secretariat being, hosted here. And President Mahama, you heard him last week, making very strong commitments to making sure that the dream, the full potential of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is to industrialize the continent, create jobs for our people, and it situates perfectly within his 24-hour, economic agenda. The master plan, which he has put forward, well espoused in a manifesto. So this will be the strategic considerations.
Okay, abusia wene ensema ekoso ewo political highway so gold bars millions of dollars and Ghana cedis and abusia national security. John Dramani Mahama is ready to reset Ghana. Abusia Yasha say ehu sa huge amount of money and gold bars no abusua we ne ensema course e bada ma sesa mo je pene kokoti sa audio we e de MI aha POG Media so bada ma se